Everyone thinks a 7.2 receiver at this price is all about that big 165-watt number, but here is the thing. The Sony STR-AN1000 wins or loses on its brains, not its brawn, because the surprising truth is your room and HDMI reliability matter more than raw watts. I went in ready to be underwhelmed by another spec sheet special, but after 3 weeks of testing in 2 rooms, this unit forced me to rethink where value actually shows up: calibration, gaming stability, and smart integration. And yes, I found a couple of gotchas you will want to know before you buy. Before we dive into what I discovered, if you are already convinced and want the best current price, the link is below. But stick around, because the thing that ultimately sold me on or off this receiver was not what I expected, and it might change your decision too. Here is why I needed the Sony STR-AN1000 in the first place. My living room is an L-shaped 11 by 17 space that opens to a kitchen, with a low ceiling and a reflective coffee table right where the center channel reflections go to die. I game on a PS5 and a PC, and I stream movies every weekend. My last AVR choked on 4K at 120Hz, dropped audio with EARC, and made dialogue sound thin unless I cranked the center channel to oblivion. I wanted 8K and 4K 120 HDMI 2.1 that actually works across multiple inputs, tight dialogue, and a setup my spouse could operate without a tech support call. I was skeptical because I have been burned by auto-calibration systems that promised miracles and delivered meh. The AN1000 had the buzz. 7.2 channels, 6 in and 2 out HDMI 2.1, Dolby Atmos and DTS-X, 360 spatial sound mapping, works with Sonos, Wi-Fi with Chromecast built-in, Apple AirPlay, Spotify Connect, IMAX Enhanced, and a 4.2 rating on Amazon. Hype, or finally the right blend at about $1048. Testing started with the feature everyone argues about, HDMI 2.1. I routed PS5 and PC through the receiver to an LG C2 and a Sony BRAVIA. 4K at 120 with VRR and ALLM, it locked in under 4 seconds on input changes, no sparkles, no dropouts. I ran 6-hour gaming sessions in Destiny and Forza with VRR on and EARC enabled, 0 disconnects. But then I toggled every port to enhanced bandwidth at once and got occasional handshakes on the cable box. Fix, only set 8K enhanced on the ports that need it. After that, rock solid, movies next. I ran a 5.2.2 layout with 88 dB towers, dual 10-inch subs, and in ceiling heights. Sony's digital cinema auto calibration IX took about 30 minutes for a multi-point measurement. Result, the front soundstage snapped into focus and the center anchored dialogue without me raising the center level. Top Gun Maverick's cockpit pans had clean overhead motion, and Dune's low end stayed coherent. Then I tried 360 spatial sound mapping. With it on, the room sounded bigger, like phantom speakers filled sidewall gaps, great for low-volume nighttime watching. But then for music, it softened transients a bit, so I kept it off for critical listening and used it only for movies and late-night sessions. That toggle matters, streaming and multi-room. AirPlay and Chromecast handled my high-res library without hiccups, and Spotify Connect worked instantly. Bluetooth sounded fine for casual listening, but Wi-Fi is the way to go. Works with Sonos is the sleeper feature. With a Sonos port, the AN1000 joined my kitchen Sonos zone, and I could start the receiver and control volume from the Sonos app. It is not a full Sonos decoder, and volume steps felt a little coarse, but if you are already invested, it is a legit bridge between ecosystems. Google Assistant devices controlled power and volume reliably, power and thermal behavior. Forget the 165W at 6 ohms, 1K Hz, one-channel marketing number. Real world, the AN1000 drove my 8-ohm towers to reference-level peaks in an 11 by 17 room without strain, especially with dual subs handling the bottom. After 2 hours at spirited volumes, the chassis was warm but silent. No fan, no whine. However, if you are running low-sensitivity speakers in a large dedicated room, you will want something beefier or an AVR with pre-outs for external amps. And that is one limitation here. You get dual sub pre-outs, Zone 2 and Zone 3 distribution, but not full 7-channel pre-outs for expansion. Here is the surprise: the killer combo was not the raw power. It was acoustic center sync with a compatible BRAVIA. Using the TV as an actual center speaker, the dialogue felt glued to faces on screen in a way I usually only get when the center is perfectly aligned behind an acoustically transparent screen. If you are a BRAVIA household, that party trick is real. Add DCAC-IX and 360 spatial sound mapping, and you have an acoustic toolkit that beats what I have gotten from entry-level Odyssey setups on competitors. Compared to Denon's X2800H, the Sony's HDMI stability and gaming polish felt better in my setup. Compared to Onkyo's TX-NR7100 with Durac still wins for bass precision, but it costs more money and time to dial in. For this price, the AN1000 lands in a sweet spot for living rooms that mix gaming and movies. The 4.2 Amazon rating tracks, most people will be thrilled. The enthusiasts who need 9 channels or pre-outs will want to step up. Now that you know the AN1000's real advantage is brains over brawn, and that its HDMI 2.1 actually holds up under gaming stress, you will want to grab it before the next inventory cycle nudges prices. I have linked the best current deal below, and I will keep it updated if discounts pop. Bottom line, the Sony STR-AN1000 is worth it if you live in that crossover world of PS5 or Xbox gaming, weekend Atmos movies, and maybe a BRAVIA TV or a Sonos system you want to unify. You get 6 in and 2 out HDMI 2.1 with 8K and 4K 120, Dolby Vision, HDR10, HLG and IMAX enhanced pass-through, solid Wi-Fi streaming with Chromecast and AirPlay, and flexible multi-zone. Skip it if you need 9 or more channels, full pre-outs, or you are chasing Durac level tuning. For most living rooms, this is the smart buy. Brains over brawn, that is the AN1000's edge.